our creed to break the chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, wild and free, bows and arrows, cold 45's decree. No more tyranny, no more lies, under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night. Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near. We'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite. Horse hooves thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might. Strength in numbers, strength in rise. On the blood moon, we unite. Horse hooves thunder in the night.
Welcome all to the 77th episode of the Cowboys and Indians podcast. I'm your host, the Native Patriot. Of course, with me today is my co-host, Steve. How you doing today, Steve?
Man, I'm great. Great. Actually, I just got out of a space with January Sixers. They were giving away, they were auctioning off a plaque. America AF, that female that got arrested after J6, they came to her home and auctioned off a plaque, and the plaque went for $2,000.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
I know.
My goodness.
So it's pretty awesome, man. But other than that, living life, living the dream.
That's good to hear, man. MD James, thank you for showing up. And hey, we pretty much made it on time. We were a couple minutes late, but hey, we're doing all right.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for resharing. Please, if you can, reshare this stream. This is the way we grow. This is the way that we're going to make this podcast have a bigger impact. If you like what we say, or if you agree with what we say, or even if you don't, just go ahead and give it a share. And we'd appreciate it greatly. So God bless you guys for sharing. I really do appreciate it. Anti-Commie, thank you for joining tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about race relations because there has been a couple of big stories over the weekend that the legacy media decided to completely ignore. And the only reason that they reported on it was because MAGA, or anybody who's not in lockstep with the Democrats and the mainstream media, the communists, were discussing it and saying that it's horrific that this was allowed to happen. And I say allowed to happen, and it wasn't just a tragedy that randomly occurred. This was allowed to happen.
Absolutely.
Because of the anti-white sentiment over the past decade plus.
Easy.
And the way that mainstream media has been reporting on race relations of this country.
Yeah.
So,
dude, absolutely. And it's just growing in fashion. And what we're seeing are the effects of what the mainstream media has done, and these politicians and even these DAs and judges that are letting these people off the hook with the low crime rate, or the high crime rate, but like low, justice system, any justice system. But imagine if it was a white person that was doing this. If a white person did it to a black guy, reverse the roles, what would happen right now? You just have to ask yourself that. And if you can't answer that, then you're so brainwashed and so just you don't even understand what is going on, or either you refuse to understand what is going on, you choose not to, or you know what's going on and you're allowing this to happen, which is far more nefarious.
Natasha brings up a good point. She says, this is what happens when black people are systemically taught that white people are the cause of all of their problems. And, I've been posting a lot about black fatigue, right? That the buzzwords of the as of late.
Right.
And in all reality, this is the inevitable conclusion of the anti-white sentiment and rhetoric that we've been hearing about. There's no way around this. Of course, people are going to have black fatigue because, and in all reality, I'm even starting to feel it too. And I almost expect it because, you know why? Because they almost always live up to their stereotype. Almost always. When they dress the part, You know, it sounds like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's probably a damn duck. And that's what's been going on as of late. And it's extremely frustrating because I personally know black people in my life that are great God-fearing Americans. And it is frustrating as hell to see this over and over again and have to call it out for a race thing when in all reality, it is a cultural problem.
Absolutely. And I do want to stand corrected. That plaque sold for $3,000, not two. Champs. I don't know if he's in here right now, but if he comes in here, I'm going to put his name up on the bottom because he's awesome. But yeah, man. So I've been thinking about this a lot, right? And like, white people are being targeted and black people are being led into a culture where it's okay to, or let me rephrase that. Criminal black people are led into a culture where they can hurt white people and receive no punishment for it. The real victim right now are good black people that don't buy into the BLM bullshit, that don't buy into victims of black fatigue, but they're actually good people and they don't buy into this narrative, and they're actually, you know, hardworking Americans and all of that stuff. And it's kind of blowing my mind right now that this is kind of still going on, but I don't even know where I'm getting at. I just feel for the good black people that are not buying in, or haven't bought into the BLM anti-white movement. They're like, this is BS. And there's a lot of black people that are on the sides with white people right now, and they don't conform to what this propaganda and this agenda that's being shoved down their throats.
It's the current black culture that, and I say black culture because that's predominantly what it is, but in all reality, Native American reservations suffer from this same exact culture, from this gangster style culture. I mean, but there's plenty of white people who grow up in ghettos, and who adopt this gangster lifestyle, but predominantly it is championed by the black community, and they believe that it's okay to promote. They believe that it's okay to embody those values that are promoted in rap videos, and it's just that entire lifestyle is disgraceful, and it should have been condemned a long time ago. But for some reason,
it's getting worse. It's ramping up. The violence, the rhetoric. You have politicians that are openly calling out to harm white people. It's just getting exponentially worse. And what is the solution, though?
To bring fathers back into the homes, and I don't just mean any fathers. I mean fathers that are dedicated to raising their kids to be better Americans, to be God-fearing, patriotic Americans. I mean, that is literally the only way that we fix this, because I think it's over 70% of black children grow up in fatherless homes. 70%, the overwhelming majority of black kids are grown up without fathers. The ones that do have fathers, I can't tell you this for sure, but a lot of them probably aren't the best kinds of fathers. Not the ones that are taking their kids to church and raising them to be God-fearing, patriotic Americans, because they still, in a lot of ways, will fall into the same category as the rest of the black community, believing that they are oppressed by the white people, because that's what they've been told, that's what they've been taught, that's what they know, is that all of their problems are stem from white people themselves. And it is so frustrating, and I'm so tired of this. So yes, there is black fatigue that I have, but it is of the culture, not of the melanin in their skin.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, before we get into the stories that lead us into this intro, why don't we go to check out our sponsor super quick?
You know what? I posted the sponsors in the comments below. So on my stream, if you wanted to copy that, Steve, and put it under your X streaming thingamajig, then that way you guys can know that we're sponsored by Q Broadcasting, which is a broadcasting network, and QUITTR, the app that helps men stop watching porn, because that is a huge cultural issue that we have been facing for a long time. I really believe in this, and same thing with the Q network. I've done a couple of interviews with the people who made Q Broadcasting. I absolutely love them. They love America. They love God. So I don't want to play the commercials right now, just because it's. I need to figure out a way to make better commercials for them, because I know that you guys sit through them, but in all reality, the links are in the description. If you guys want to stop watching porn, please download the QUITTR app, or if you know someone, share it around. It ruins your mind. It destroys intimacy with your spouse. Just make it a point of your life to deliberately stop watching this garbage that is poisoning your mind. And if you want a better streaming service that isn't YouTube, what is it? YouTube TV, or
I almost said Xbox. Oh my gosh,
Xfinity,
Hulu Live, and all of these other streaming services.
Yeah. Start streaming with somebody who is less expensive, who has all the channels, and who actually loves this country. Okay, they're trying to make a difference. We actually have a channel on their network that you can watch us on your TV. So if you guys wanted to do that, get with a company that actually loves this country, then please download Q Broadcasting, check it out. Links are in the description. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, it isn't Netflix. That's
very true. Or Disney, or any of these companies that do not care about you, and they're trying to ram propaganda down your throat on a daily basis. I mean, when's the last time you watched a TV show and it's almost like you watch a new series, right? And you get like really into the TV show, and then you're like, oh man, I'm pumped for the second and third season, and boom, there's a tranny, or there's a gay couple.
always.
It's like, why? It's so unnecessary, but they're trying to culturally condition people to accept it. So go to Q, and you don't have to worry about the LGBTQ.
Something like that.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, in all reality, you guys, we only take on a couple of sponsors, and it's the ones that we truly believe in. So please, at least check it out. Just click on the link down below and start supporting companies that love this country and that want a better life for you and our children's future. That's the bottom line.
Get some comments in from YouTube, bro.
What's going on, guys? I know I put out a video
talking about YouTube Live, and here we go. YouTube comment.
Yeah. Hey, you know, it is what it is. Sally, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. And last chance before we get into the stories today, please share this podcast. Every share is really, really appreciated. We can't, we don't have the extra funds to pay for advertising, so we rely solely on you guys to share this podcast and in order to make us grow. So,
absolutely.
The first story. Look at this. Axios. This is how they address the story of the brutal murder of a Ukrainian refugee, a white Ukrainian woman who came over here, fled a war-torn country. The way that they address this is stabbing video fuels MAGA's crime message. This isn't about MAGA at all, okay? This is not about a random video on the internet. This is about a brutal murder that happened from a black man to a white woman. And the way that they address this isn't violent crime riddled area, or violent black man decides to brutally murder an innocent, unarmed, unaware white woman. No, they say stabbing video, as if this is just another viral video of a kid streaming. No, this is a video of a brutal murder that happened by a black man to a white woman, one of many. I mean, this is the exact issue that MAGA takes issue with, because it is not about the people. It is not about the safety of the people in these cities. No, they address this as MAGA's reaction to this.
Well, I mean, this is Axios, which is a ragtag, outlet, whatever you want to call them anyhow. But, I mean, to understand the rhetoric, you have to observe these types of articles to understand what you're fighting up against, right? So imagine, do a role reversal. How would that headline read, Mo? White supremacist?
White supremacist kills innocent scholar of medicine, and she's like
Right.
a first year nurse or something, whatever it would be. They would obviously paint it as the black one's the innocent, the white one's the super guilty, anti-American, evil, white supremacist. Rah, rah, rah. That's how they would paint it, and it's frustrating.
Exactly. John Roberts, nail on the head. And it should not just be MAGA outraged. Every damn American should be. That's the truth, man.
The propaganda machine is too big to take down, sadly. No, it's not. David took down Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible, but people have to be aware of what's going on. And the way that they use this rhetoric, it is exhausting. You will want to quit, but we can never stop. We can never stop trying to inspire people to see through this garbage, because you never know how far your ripple will spread. How when you make a wave, you don't know how far that's going to travel, or who that's going to influence, and what kind of a difference you're going to make. So if enough of us get our shit together, then it's possible that we can actually stop this. But you cannot be demoralized to the point that saying it's too big to take down, because there's nothing that we can't. There's no scenario where they win in the end. God always wins. We are on the side of God. We are on the side of righteousness. We are on the side of the good, of the truth. And it is important to stick to that and believe in your own power. They want to demoralize you. They want you to not believe in yourself. You can make a difference. And I can make a difference. This is why that we do this podcast. I just spent 10 hours changing tires, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And now I'm out here because I'm very, very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about helping inspire people to not only see through this, but to better their own lives. And if I don't do this every single day, I may not reach one of you to inspire somebody else to do better in their own life, or to inspire somebody else in their own life. Maybe weeks or months or years down the road. I don't know, but I'm going to continue doing this because I feel compelled to. I had a calling years ago, and I'm not going to stop. It is far too important for not only for my future, but for my wife's future and for my children's future.
Yeah, and it's very important to have that mentality too, because like what the commenter just said, unfortunately, they're too big to break down. Then if you have that mindset, then you've already lost. Anything can be brought down. Look what happened with Bud Light. Look what happened with Target. We rose up against those evil corporations and they bent. And the more and more people do that, the more we need the narrative or I guess the culture or whatever on our side. Because like you were saying, Maurice, it just takes one of us to inspire that one person. And then it's like a pyramid scheme. It takes that one person and then you get more and more and more. And eventually you turn over that rhetoric or culture, whatever word you want to talk about. Like, are you going to stop fighting against the deep state? No. Like, I know me and you won't. Against globalism, we're not going to say, oh, they have so much money, they have so much control. We just soon stop and just, live our lives and then whatever. We're going to be dead anyway, so it doesn't matter. You can't stop because there's so much important in the future that we have. We can't let our future go at all.
Yeah, and we can never let it go. John Roberts says, when I see this stuff, it makes me ready to fight, and I'm an old, broke-down man, but I'd fight until I die. You may know this story, John, but look up the story of Samuel Whitmore. Specifically, if you look on YouTube, look up The Fat Electrician. He does a great storytelling of Samuel Whitmore. It doesn't matter if you're old, doesn't matter if you're young. I mean, this is something that we all need to collectively fight for, because there has been so many instances in this country that have altered the course of the future by one man or by one person, no matter the age. They go out and they actually can make a substantial difference just by their spirit shining through and making an impact that turns out to be live on through generations past.
Mm-hmm. This is actually a very good question. And it comes from the Grouch in, I'm assuming, New Hampshire. Okay, question then. I've grown a good following on my channel and socials, but it seems like every non-politician that tries to change things ends up part of the problem. How do we fix it?
Every non-politician that tries to change,
Oh,
every
sorry.
non-politician.
Yeah, basically like an influencer or whatever you want to call them becomes part of the problem. That's just a person that doesn't stand by their convictions. So you can grow a large account on, I don't know, YouTube or any of these big tech companies, but it's about the message and not bending the knee. So if you say, we migrated our channel over to YouTube, we're not going to stop talking about what we talk about. And if that ends
We're
up
on YouTube.
well, okay, say we have like 1 million subscribers or something like that on YouTube, right? We're not going to change how we speak or what our message is. And if we get banned because of it, we're still trying, right? We're not going to have that mentality of, then we can't be on big tech because we have to be in the fight regardless. Like we have to go on YouTube and Facebook and all of these other things that we don't necessarily believe in, but we have to be there to be in the fight. You can't just have that preconception notion that, I'm going to get banned anyway, or the deep state or these globalists have too much money, we shouldn't fight back against them. You can't have that guard in front of you. You just have to rush forward through it. And if you get knocked down along the way, you do, but at least you're doing something about it.
Yeah, it's important to be aware. And I'll tell you what, as far as influencers becoming part of the problem or non-politicians, everybody's going to have missteps along the way. And the temptations of selling out are extremely difficult to resist. So maybe just be careful about who you support. And when you see them misstep, call it out.
Yeah.
And hopefully you have some kind of influence on them. And hopefully, if you stop supporting them once they do sell out, then
big India money.
There's yeah, there's no good way. There's no definitive answer that I would have to prevent that. It's just be careful who you support and where your money goes. Like, if you're paying Netflix, you're also paying for movies like Cuties, where they auditioned like 260 young girls on camera, all twerking for the people who were making the movie, and then they made the girls twerk on camera for the world to see. 12-year-old prepubescent little girls. So when you pay for Netflix, you're paying for stuff like that. When you pay for Bud Light, you're paying for these gay trans movements. When you're buying, wherever you spend your money.
Maybe you don't support like the trans movement, but you're indirectly supporting by giving all of your money to them, right? Yeah. And I think that's what people need to understand. I think that's the barrier that we need to break with a lot of people. Like, supporting these gigantic corporations that hate you is whatever ideology they have, that's what you're inherently supporting. I do want to bring up this guy again, and he's making some really good comments. The Grouch in New Hampshire again. I'm a disabled combat vet. First off, thank you for your service, brother or sister. I'm assuming it's not Grouch yet, so I'm assuming brother. All right. So I know about fighting for what's right. I'll never stop. I just don't know how much I'm affecting any change. Seems like the good people get elected and give in. And actually, I kind of agree with him on this, but for you, for example, like, you have the channel and you don't stop. Even though you don't think you're making changes or making any changes, keep fighting, because like Maurice was saying earlier, you never know who you're talking to or what voice you're reaching, and that can create a gigantic domino effect. So, bro, I'm just telling you now, just keep hard charging, and just type in your branch of service if you don't mind.
Also, in all reality, we as Americans need to get comfortable with not giving in to every temptation of convenience out there, because that's the way so far that these communists, I could use all the buzzwords I want, but in reality, the people that want to see this country fall, they want you to own nothing and they want you to be happy. And convenience is the way that they have been doing it for a long time. You know, biblically, we're called to take the narrow path. Now, when you when you look at your life and you think, okay, well, popularity doesn't mean right. What does it mean that what am I called to do? What am I supposed to do with this information in taking the narrow path? Well, that means that conveniency is not going to be the best choice most of the time, because that is the most easily exploited part of Americans today. It is they sell like the Switch 2, right? The Switch 2 just came out recently, and they sell cartridges for physical games, but it is literally just a key in order to unlock the game online. And they've already stated, there was a big controversy about this, that you don't actually own any of the games. You just own the right to play the game as long as they allow it. They can shut down your Switch 2 at any point in time and you can't play any games at all. They will turn it into a brick at any time if they deem it so, which is ridiculous. Wow. And still, it's sold out within hours. Okay? So what's the narrow path? What's the narrow path? What are you supposed to do? Don't buy it. Don't support it. Shun anybody who does. A lot of these companies are using convenience in order to sell it to the American people. And most people will buy it up. But I'll tell you what, it's not worth it. So Netflix... I've never even
heard of that before. Literally, this is the first time I'm hearing this. That's crazy to me. I would never do that. Telling me I'm going to spend money just for a game that you control and I don't own? No. I don't do that. That would be that's almost like what leasing a car is. Sorta.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's no. I mean, I understand the point behind leasing, but at the end of the day, you never own anything. So,
well, imagine if you leased the car, but you owned it. The actual physical car you own, but everything inside the car, starting it up, heated seats, power windows, everything there was controlled by them. So you physically owned the car itself, but any function of the car itself can be shut down at any time, because you just own the right to drive it, right? But they can shut you down at any point in time, no matter what. That's what the Switch 2 is. And it's stupid because a lot of people don't understand that they're setting their kids up by buying them the Switch 2. They are setting them up as it's becoming a normality in their lives, right? Just like how we were born with Social Security numbers. Americans weren't always born with Social Security numbers, by the way. True. But now we're given a number by the government. We just assume that it's normal. So the younger generation is growing up knowing that, okay, I get this console, but I own nothing on it. That's just normal. That's what life is. Yeah. And by you participating in that, you're teaching the younger generation to capitulate to it and actually.
Definitely, man, that's good. Oh man, I'm sorry. That's still my mind is still blown from that. So
it's heartbreaking, man. It really, really is. And you know what? This actually, I've been harping about this all weekend because it is one of those things that drives me personally. It drives me absolutely crazy, and especially the response to it. Okay, this is something, again, it shouldn't matter in the big scheme of things, but I see it as a microcosm of the issues in our society today. Okay. I mean, this perfectly exemplifies the exact reason why I started speaking out. I've gotten a lot of flack for this, and a lot of you guys out there didn't agree with me, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. It's this right here. It is the lack of masculinity. It is the Switch 2 buyers, the dads who just say happy wife, happy life, and they just continuously give in to everything in life. Toxic masculinity has not poisoned the well of society. It is the lack of masculinity that is toxic to society. The fact that he gave in immediately. I don't care that people say that he did the right thing in front of his son by not escalating the situation. Oh, dude, he didn't start the fight.
Nope. I got flack too, because that first reaction, his look, first of all, what the hell was that? I don't care who it is, male, female, age doesn't matter to me. You come up to me and approach me and my son with that attitude, I'm going to tell you,
Grabbing your shoulder, by the way.
get the fuck away from me. 100%. I'm sorry. People were like, "Oh, well, he's a good guy because he de-escalated the situation. Look what happened. He got a baseball bat and a camper and World Series tickets." No, he lost the masculinity part to his son.
This was a voluntary. Him giving up that ball was voluntary. Karen here did not take the ball. Let me be very, very, very clear about this. Karen did not take the ball from the child. The father took the ball from his own child and gave it to Karen. And you know what really bugs me about this is only 2 short years ago, okay, Holden Armenta went to a Chiefs game painted with black and red and had a Chiefs headdress on. And because that involved race, nobody wanted to touch that. Right. The Armentas didn't get this overwhelming kind of support. What the hell is this? This dad gave up the ball voluntarily, and all of a sudden everybody wants to do everything for him, but nobody wanted to stick their neck out for Holden Armenta and his family. But I'll tell you what, his family showed strength. His family stood behind everything that they did, and that's why I adore the Armenta family. That's why Eddie and I started a fundraiser to get Bubba Armenta and Holden Armenta to the Super Bowl. Okay, they ended up going to the Super Bowl. I didn't have a big following back then. We scraped by. We raised $11,000. We could barely get them to the Super Bowl, but I'll tell you what, we got them to the Super Bowl. And so we showed our support for the strength that they as a family showed for Holden Armenta. They never backed down. They never gave an inch. The woke mob came after them. They came after their work, and there was almost no support from any news outlets or Barstool Sports or anything like that. But since this all involves white people and the freaking dad gave in and gave her the ball, all of a sudden now they can come out virtue signaling that, oh, look, we corrected the record. Look, we helped him out. We gave him all this stuff for being weak cowards. It drives me crazy because
Absolutely.
it took so long to get it. It was so difficult to raise that money for Holden Armenta. And you know what? I hope that he has a great life. I pray that they win the lawsuit against Deadspin. And I mean, that's still ongoing, but my God, it just drives me absolutely crazy that this story went that way over the weekend.
Yeah. So I think maybe, a couple of years ago, there was a lot of support behind the Armenta family, just because there was so much backlash against Deadspin, and I know you had your post and all that stuff scalped from, I forgot the name of the accounts, but you see this now, like you saw in the comments, there are so many people that are like, dude, he's just the dad lacked the intestinal fortitude. There is a culture shift, man. And we have 4,700 people right now watching this live stream. It could affect one person. And this is why we talk about this stuff all the time. That way the Holden Armentas don't happen again. And it's like an immediate backlash. To me, the response was more that the dad was a vagina for not going after the Karen like he should have. Not having the balls or the intestinal fortitude to actually tell that woman to back the hell off. I do see this this shift, and we were talking about it earlier with the black fatigue and all of this stuff. There is a shift, but at some point it's going to come to a precipice, and I don't know what that is, because you have two opposing forces that are starting to increase. Right at the end of the day, something is going to happen, and there's going to be a gigantic clash somewhere. I don't know what it is, when it is. Something will happen, though. I see it.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. We're coming to a crescendo of some kind. Diesel says everyone is still terrified of cancel culture, don't you think? Yes, I do. And I think that's why his reaction was the way that it was, because he knew that he was going to be on camera. Once he got the ball, in his mind, he knew. That's why he pretended he didn't see the Karen following him. That's why he hugged his kid in that way and was like, I'm just going to ignore it and hopefully it goes away. and then she got his attention, and he immediately gave in. And
I'm not
Before-
advocating for violence,
No.
but he should have knife-handed that bitch in her fucking face and said, if you do not step the fuck away from me right now, I will make sure you get out of my way. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that dude, oh, God. Just watching that little shake that he does, man. How beta was that?
It really, like, my wife can attest to this. I was fired up so much over this because back before the government lockdowns of COVID, I didn't have any social media. I had just upgraded to a smartphone a couple years before that. And I thought that there was men in America that would stand up to tyranny if ever it arose. Right? I thought that there were so many more people that were capable or competent enough to say no to unreasonable, unconstitutional mandates.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked out into the world or into our country, when the government lockdowns came full force, and I saw how many people would rather shutter their doors forever
Yeah,
than say no,
exactly.
it terrified me, man. And that's literally the reason why I started speaking out. So when I see that, it just reminds me of how many men are incapable of saying no, incapable of standing on their own 2 feet. And it worries me more than it should.
During COVID here in Texas, okay, so Harris County was different because it's just a Democrat stronghold, right? The city of Houston, the county. But outside of that, man, not many people were wearing masks the entirety of COVID. So I think it really just depends on the area that you live in, on how people respond to stuff like that.
I mean, I agree. They're in Washington State, but the problem is that it's systemic, and that when there's anything on the line, that's when people cave.
True.
Right? Like it when you have nothing. So
If you have to
not wearing a
sacrifice-
mask
Yeah.
into a gas station is like the lowest level of protest that you can do.
Oh,
when they
right.
when they come for your job, like I remember my boss sitting me down because he knew that I wasn't I was against the mask mandates. I was against the vaccine mandates, anything like that. And he
Right.
brought me into his office and he's like, Maurice, he's like, there may be a vaccine mandate coming down the line.
Ooh.
He's like, what are you going to do? Are you going to quit? And I said, no, I'm not going to quit and I'm not going to take it. You will have to fire me, but I'm not going to do it. I'll find another job. It doesn't matter to me. I'm capable
Right.
enough. I'm in a position to where I can find a job anywhere. I can get into construction.
Yep.
I can get into to a different tire business. It doesn't matter what I can get into. I wish that there were more men. Like my boss, I asked him, why, if I'm willing to say no, why aren't you willing to say no to your higher ups? What makes you cave in so easily?
Yeah.
And he gave me the same old story, like, oh, I have a family and kids, and it's like, so do I. I have the same
Right.
exact thing to lose. I make just as much money as him because of all the overtime I worked back then.
Right.
What are you willing to if you're not willing to lose anything, then how can I say that you believe in freedom, in these principles of liberty and freedom? How can you
Yeah.
actually believe in them if at the first sign of controversy you cave in?
Absolutely,
And this has been men in general and Americans in general for so
Yes.
long. We cave in too much.
Yeah, I mean, and I think like COVID was like a litmus test, right? Not only just like wearing a mask and a vaccine, but it's how much the government could enforce on the will of the people. And you better believe that they took serious notes on how they could encroach on your rights and individual freedoms. And so if there's anything else in the future, they're going to refer to COVID as like the initial test. And then if something else happens, this is the way the communists work, right? They will push really hard against you, and then once the people rise up and they're like, no, we're not having any of that stuff, then they'll back off. But they're not backing off all the way. They're backing off just enough so the will of the people, they're like, okay, we won. But in all actuality, they didn't, because they're doing things in the back channels where they still have that encroachment. What's going to happen is that next time they're going to push even further and then back off, push further, back off. And before you know it, you're in full-blown communism, man.
I mean, in reality, we're not too far off. Even with the Trump administration today, I mean, Palantir and the surveillance state is encroaching on every bit of personal freedom that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, they're recording and documenting and storing every bit of information on private citizens.
Scary, bro.
It really is. There's no way for us to have a revolution in the same way that our founding fathers did, because
impossible.
I mean, they were separated by an ocean, and they would still go to bars and have these meetings trying to inspire people for the revolution. But there's not really a good way to do that right now.
No, man. And you even bring up like 1776 talk, you're getting eyes on you. You know what I mean? Like even if like your X handle has something with 1776 on it, people are going to be watching you. I'm just going to say that, man. We're in scary times, brother. I don't even know. Like, there needs to be a great reset, but from the will of the people. That is the only way this is going to change, because the government has just grown so far big. Like, we have a bloated government. I'm a libertarian at heart. I think we should probably have like two people in Congress, maybe. No Congress, I'd be okay with that too. But it just seems like since the Federal Reserve was created, everything has just gotten worse and worse and worse. And without some sort of huge event, I don't know. We're in a complete surveillance state right now. They want us to be like China, and it's getting pretty close.
Yeah, well, the way it's a little bit more nefarious than China. Because in a lot of ways, the way that the Chinese government will go after you is overt. But we learned through the Obama administration that they will come at you in nefarious ways, like through the IRS. You start speaking out, all of a sudden you get audited. All of a sudden you get targeted. You wanted to protest by, missing your taxes for a year or two, or having passive income on the side that is only in cash. All of a sudden, the government, the IRS is targeting you and cracking down on every little transaction you had for the last couple of years. And so it's not worse than the Communist Party, but it's definitely more nefarious, because at least the Chinese people know that they're being watched and know what they're not supposed to say. And in this time, it's like, if you say the wrong thing, or if you influence the wrong people, or if all of a sudden you have that viral moment, then you're going to get targeted by every institution that the government has available. And then what? Yeah.
I mean, and the way they do it right now to silence people is by doxing and swatting. So you have these propagandists that the propagandists are paying these foreign actors, in my opinion, foreigners, to dial in and start doing the doxing and swatting. But just remember, during January 6th, one person was found by just the shape of their earlobe. Do you remember that? Someone was arrested because of that. I forgot who. But it's dangerous times, man. Dangerous times. Obama
with how much...
It's actually a fair point. If you're an American citizen overseas, Obama would just drone strike you.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about all these lefties coming out about that Venezuelan boat?
Yes.
That got blown up, and that Trump bragged about it. All the lefties come out there like, this is a war crime. They were just out there fishing. It's like, no, they weren't. Yeah. And also, Obama, I mean, he was bombing like restaurants and weddings. Mm-hmm. Where were you guys then?
Yeah. I think it was a Irish lady or something. It was like over 1 million impressions, and she was like, how I would know this is a fishing boat? Because drug runners would get off all the dead weight so they can bring more product overseas. And I was just like, I think we probably should have dropped a nuclear bomb on it just to assert dominance. That's just me.
They still haven't figured out who swatted you guys and the conservatives? Nope. No. And that, I mean, I don't think they care, in all reality. Why would they? They just don't care. It's at the bottom of the priority list.
Look at that. That's insane. Starlink, you can broadcast or stream.
You muted your mic, Steve.
I'm so sorry, dude. I'm like boomer in it right now. Using Starlink, they just purchased the ability to stream broadband worldwide. That's crazy.
That's pretty cool. Well, and this is going to change the narrative, because I fully believe that the people of each nation, albeit they have very different practices, are not. They don't go along with the government's way of thinking. Right? The way that they're represented by their government. Because, I mean, if we go off America, right, which is supposedly the most free and the most likely to represent the will of the people, they don't even come close to representing us.
No.
Even Trump. Trump.
Yeah, I know. He's the closest so far, I would say.
In my lifetime.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of comments popping right now. I'm trying to keep the conversation going. But yeah, man, there needs to be a fundamental change in this country, and I don't know. I don't see it happening anytime in the future. But you never know.
John Roberts says in my lifetime too.
Yeah,
that's good.
John Roberts is like 85, I think. John, I think he's 85 years old. No, I'm just kidding. He's not. He's gonna bust my balls on that one.
Thanks, Lauren. She's so sweet. Yes, I made an appearance on Harrison Smith's InfoWars. I wouldn't say that I'm famous. It is a little weird though, because I literally still feel like a small town nobody from Washington State that changes tires, and then and like going on InfoWars or like to Range Day like we did earlier this year. I mean, all that stuff is very, very cool. But in the grand scheme of my personal goals, it doesn't it doesn't necessarily further that, except maybe get me some exposure. But I mean, Harrison Smith is awesome. I could talk to that guy for a very, very long time. Awesome. And I do plan to actually, the next time I go down to visit Steve, we're going to head over to the InfoWars studio. That'd be pretty cool.
I really, that was I wish we could have went last time, but just wasn't in the cards, but it is what it is. We'll get out there.
Yeah, we will.
Did you want to pull up some more of those articles to go through, or we still got about 12 minutes?
Well, the reason that I pulled up the Axios article itself was because, I mean, in Wokeness, he has 60 million views on this post here. Yeah, 60.7.
In Wokeness,
Zero AP stories with the deadly attack. I mean, all of the mainstream media decided to not report this attack, and it almost seemed like they were waiting to see how MAGA used, shared the story and the sentiments of the story, and they wanted to use it as a cudgel instead of reporting on what happened. They're using it as a cudgel to demonize the MAGA movement, right? As if we had nefarious intentions by sharing simple things or simple stories like this, like it was our idea to do that. But in all reality, you guys, if we didn't have X, if we didn't have the free speech of X, we wouldn't know about any of these stories. We wouldn't know about I always forget her name.
Oh, Shiloh?
Shiloh. Yeah, I was going to say Shia. But yeah, Shiloh, we wouldn't know about the stabbing on the train. We wouldn't know about Austin Metcalf. We wouldn't know about this lady getting her head beat in. And body cam, I mean, transparency is key. And this is why I wanted to bring up the black fatigue in general. Because this is why people are fatigued by this, because they see the truth, they see the transparency that body cams provide, and then they see what the mainstream media, how they paint it. That's what they're tired of. They're tired of black people always being the victims, no matter how aggressive or evil they are in their last moments. They just see the mainstream media just paints this picture as black people are still the victims of the racist white supremacy in America, and it's not true. That's what people are tired of. They're not tired of passing by a black person or opening going to the gas station, opening a door for a black person. That's not what they're tired of. They're not tired of black people. They're tired of the way that these criminals, that these evil bad people are painted in the media because their skin is black. That's what they're tired of.
Yeah. So I think black fatigue is just like kind of the popular term, but I think more accurately it would be mainstream media fatigue. It would be district attorney fatigue, judge fatigue. You know, the criminals that are getting off. So we're fatigued about that. And then what about George Floyd and Daniel Penny? Those stories. Literally, I believe it was 150 to 1. Like the coverage of Daniel Penny versus what just happened on the subway recently. I think it's a little bit more complex than that. But what people say when people say black fatigue, I think it's a little bit more kind of a catch-all statement. Like, I'm going to drink a Coke, but you're actually drinking Dr. Pepper. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay, we got some comments here. David Green says, the Indian is telling me white folk aren't the bad guy. I'm confused. I get that a lot. And I'll tell you what, I'm half white. So maybe that's why. I was raised outside of the reservation, and I don't buy into the narrative that Native Americans are part of this victim group that needs to receive reparations and all of this crap. I don't receive reparations from or payments from my tribe. Because I see that my tribal institution as just as corrupt as every other governmental institution. And it actually goes perfectly into this comment here. There will always be racist people, but the majority of racism was gone 20 years ago. People are people. I would say 30 years ago. But people are people. There's always going to be some that suck. I was born at a time where we shared equal rights as different races.
Yes.
Equal treatment was a still a goal of Americans to achieve, and it was getting a lot closer, but we all shared equal rights. And race wasn't nearly as much of a thing back in the 90s or the early 2000s. It wasn't. And now, since like 2012, when the mainstream media got onto all the social medias, they poisoned the well, and they ruined a lot of people.
Yeah, and there's a lot of money to be made in racism too. Like, look out the Al Sharpton.
Oh yes.
Or the BLM. There's just so much money to be made in that. So they just seize the opportunities. So that they'll have one potential fentanyl overdose. You know who I'm talking about, and they'll use that. And like, how much money did BLM make?
Billions.
Billions. Yeah, just crazy. But what did they do with that money? Did they build up one neighborhood? Did they build a black school or any? No, they didn't. These founders bought mansions with the money, man. So like, to me, like, if I donated to BLM and I saw that, I would be pissed, right? Why these people, that were making 30 or 40 grand a year at, I don't know, working at probably not Hobby Lobby, but you know what I mean? And then they become multimillionaires. So
Steve, you actually you brought up a really, really good point, is that the black fatigue that is popular on social media right now, all of that ire should be pointed at somewhere like BLM, because the majority of people that donated to BLM had good intentions, right? Their intentions were good, but if BLM was something that actually wanted to help the black community, you know what they would actually start to do is they would build churches, they would build community centers, they would have made black Americans more Christian and more dedicated to their families. They would have invoked or inspired or tried to champion the nuclear family to end this idea that, or this statistical fact that 70% of black youth are brought up without a father in their home. That is what's plaguing the black community right now, and all the influence that those fatherless kids see are the gangsters, right?
Exactly.
The rappers.
Yep.
The world that they're growing up in. I mean, they're starting under zero. They're screwed before they even really get a chance to live. Right. Because when you grow up without a father and you grow up in a ghetto where your family becomes your gangster brothers, of course they're going to fall into this. And that's why I'm grateful I didn't grow up on the reservation, because I have a brother who literally, I mean, he's about 10 years younger than me. 8 years. Hold on.
Something like that. I think you said something like that before. Yeah.
And he grew up on the reservation, and he grew up, I mean, my father was technically in the household, but he was on drugs, and so was the mom. And
he wasn't there. Yeah.
No, so he wasn't really there. There was no guidance there. And you know what my brother got into? Gangs, drugs, all of that shit. He is no different than any of this black fatigue, the same crap that we are fatigued by. He bought into that same exact culture. It ruined his life. He's been in and out of jail. I haven't spoke to him in 10 years because he decided, or he was brought up in that world. And so I am so grateful that I was raised outside of that. And the easy way to explain it is to say that I was raised by white people around white people, because they don't have that culture infested into every bit of their lives yet. I had a stepfather who came in, a white stepfather who came in and basically adopted my sister and I, a white man. And he taught me work ethic. He taught me discipline. He was rough on me, and I am grateful for it, because I had a father in the home that told me no.
That's a hard thing for people to say nowadays, is no. You just sparked my interest or curiosity, but you can be white, you can be black, you can be Hispanic, Asian, American Indian, or Native American, whatever you want to call it, and we can still have black fatigue on you.
Yes, absolutely.
So just be a good damn person. It's not.
We only have 259,115 churches, you know, and to be honest, I haven't found a church that I really love to go to, because a lot of the churches around me shut down during COVID. They voluntarily bent the knee because daddy government said you're not allowed to preach. And so they were like, okay, we'll just preach online. And they shuttered their doors. You are supposed to preach the word of God for the sake of preaching for the word of God. And a lot of these weak churches around me didn't do it. And so I lost faith in them. And so churches aren't necessarily the answer, because it has to be a community event that is in search of actually understanding the word of God, and not just preaching to gain members so they get donations, and listening to the government so they keep their tax exempt status and all of this crap. That I don't care about churches like that, and I will never defend them. I won't.
It's like a church of convictions that doesn't stand by their own convictions. It's an oxymoron, isn't it?
So my church is in my household. When we read the Bible, when I embody the values from the Bible that I've learned, and I try to integrate into my life the best that I can. I'm not a perfect Christian. Obviously, I've made a ton of mistakes in my life. I'm going to continue to make mistakes more, but I'm definitely trying to be the best Christian that I can be. And I pray to Jesus Christ, and I think that he is the truth, the light, and the way forward. And I believe that is the way forward for our nation. And if we don't have churches that are actually honoring the word of God, then they're not really churches. They're just subverted areas where people gather under the guise of church or Christianity.
Oh, look at that. I got the finger going too. It's perfect.
That's Satan pretending. What is that? What? Hold up. That's not a church, Steve. That's Satan pretending. What does that mean?
I think what she's alluding to is like there is subversion of churches, and not all churches are pure.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yep, you're right. Yep. Especially any church that flies the LGBTQ flag, the tranny flag, or anything like that. They're all false teachers. They're false prophets. Don't ever ever go there, ever. Denise says, I'm with you, Maurice. I never found God in church. I found him at the ocean or the forest or in the hospital when my sons were born. That is a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah. It's very powerful. Absolutely.
I mean, churches can be really, really good. But it can't be about gaining more followers and figuring out different ways to. I just
like a Joel.
I haven't. Yeah.
You know,
oh my
like
gosh. Yes.
living in lavish areas, and whenever Hurricane Katrina came, not opening your church to people that, like, the church was on high ground and they didn't even open their doors to their own citizens that needed help. And that should tell you everything you need to know. So, just saying.
Okay, hold on. I just got a super relevant DM.
Ba, ba, ba. Is that a good drum roll? That's all I can do. But I'm not going to dance or sing karaoke to. We're just going to have dead air.
Well, if I dance, then it's going to start raining, and I don't want that because the top is
Good
still off
play
of
in
my
a
truck.
stereotype. Love it. And I'm white. I can't dance. So there we go.
So Lauren at Rogue Lou 18, I met her in Idaho. Very awesome. She says, Boise First Congressional Church of Christ. But oh my gosh, what is this? Is it
Boise
so?
Pride Festival.
So this is
full screen. Sorry. Okay, there.
So all of these churches are donating to the Pride Festival. That's disgusting.
Wow.
I'm going to reshare this because that is that's nonsense. And this is September 7th. Yeah, this is the exact thing that I'm talking about. Church, just because somebody says they're a Christian or just because a church says they're a church doesn't mean that they are. And it doesn't mean that you should look up to them as if they are telling you the word of God, because there are deceivers. The devil knows the Bible better than most of the preachers on this earth. He's had a long time to study it, and he has a long time to subversively undermine a lot of these institutions. And churches nowadays, you can tell by the way that they're built. Churches aren't built to embody the beauty of the Word of God and to bring people in for that sake. No, they're thrown up really quickly, and they have these big stadiums so they can play a bunch of hip, relevant music to bring people in so they get more donations and more subscribers and all of this other crap. It is not about spreading the Word of God. So, yes, Lauren, thank you for sharing this. This is insane.
Hold up.
Insane. What's up?
Hold up. Leave that post up.
Coming back.
I got to keep my hand up. I thought the left championed the separation of church and state. We're involving the churches with the exemption of property taxes. To me, that's church and state together. Interesting, huh? Wow. Okay, I digress.
The newest religion coming up is the LGBTQ religion. And make no mistake, it is a religion. They have their preachers. They have the original sin. They have many things that would make them a religion. Mm-hmm. You can say you're not religious, but if you are a human and you believe in good and evil, then guess what? You're religious. Your actions are religious. You have an ideal. You have an ultimate good and an ultimate evil. Yes, and some people have an unspecified ultimate good. The ultimate good for me as a Christian is Jesus Christ. The ultimate evil is Satan. And a lot of people just go throughout life believing that they're not religious. I'm not a religious person because I get all of my, what do you worship? What do you spend your time on? What do you idolize? All of these things are religious things. That's because the actions of humans are inherently religious. Some actions are better than others. Some actions are good, some are evil. Well, in order to get a guide on that, then understanding the truth in the Bible helps you place your actions on that good and evil scale. Are your actions closer to Satan or are your actions closer to Jesus Christ? What are you following? What are you worshiping? What is your mind energy being spent on? All of these things are inherently religious. That's just what we are.
Absolutely.
And And you don't get to escape it just by saying that you're not religious. Yes, you are. You just don't know what God you're worshiping. You don't know what demon has subverted your goodwill. They say the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So your intentions may be good, but if you are subverted by evil, then your good intentions are going to lead you to hell.
Yeah. Sorry, my Starlink is acting up right now, bro.
It's all right.
Probably because I started talking about Starlink. Now the 17G or whatever is like going off.
Yep, all different levels of faith and beliefs, but I feel there's ultimately only two sides you must choose to live along. Yeah, and they have to be deliberate. He actually said that really well. Zane, good point. And I like the way that you said there are only two sides you must choose. Because a lot of people believe that they can just be fence sitters. Yep. Revelation 3:15, it says that if you are neither hot nor cold, then God will spit you out of his mouth. If you choose to be a fence sitter, if you choose to believe that you're an atheist or that you're not religious and that you don't actually have to pick sides, you don't have to take part in good or evil, you do. And it has to be intentional.
It's called free will. And God commands you to choose. And if you choose not to, then burn in the lake of fire. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and then that should terrify everybody.
I think that's a good way to end the stream, my friend.
I would say so. I would say so, brother. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We'll be back on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Texas Freedom Time.
America time.
America time.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for sharing the podcast. I really appreciate it. Nice. If you guys want a particular topic to be talked about, you can post it in the community under each of our profiles on X. You can look. There is a Cowboys and Indians community. Post it in there, and we can discuss relevant topics or whatever you guys want. So just go ahead and hit us up via DMs or in the community. Absolutely. God bless you all. God bless America. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Peace.
Dusty plains and broken dreams. Cowboys and Indians on the same team. We got no masters, only our creed to break the chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, wild and free. Bows and arrows, cold 45's decree. No more tyranny, no more lies. Under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night. Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near. We'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite. Horse hooves thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might. Strength in numbers, strength in